How you doing? Grab some popcorn. This is a good one. Let me start off with this right here. This is an airliner flying to an airport that's Class C airspace about 16, 18 miles away. And what you notice here is that we're looking at it from underneath. So this thing's probably about 3,500 feet. And you can see both wingtips here and the empennage in the back and the fuselage to the front. The only reason that we can see both wingtips here is because we're looking at it from underneath. Now, where this was flying sideways across this way, you would only be able to see one wingtip. Keep that in mind, okay? I'm going to show you something here. You can see the entire aircraft right there. This doesn't look anything like that at all. What you're seeing here is an enlargement of a reflection in the camera lens. In other words, this is the object that the camera was focused on, and this over here is simply a reflection down the tube of the camera. So it's a reflection, but what I did was blocked out the artifacts or the noise, if you will, in the background to highlight the object itself that right here is being lit up. Okay, when this lights up, it's causing a reflection that's seen over here in the tube of the camera, but you'll notice the lenticular shape of it here. I mean, if that's not a flying saucer. But anyway, what you can't see is this right here in the back, this smaller light right here, okay? And that's this area right here. There is another part to this object, okay? Now let me show you a color video of this taken about this area right here. I'm going to stop it right here. I know I'm a nuisance, but I want to point something out. If you're not watching this on a computer screen, you're not doing yourself a favor. Because what you can't see is the object right here. It's barely lit up in this color video. And speaking of being in color, this object right here basically has no color whatsoever. It's kind of a gray. But I'm going to roll the video forward and watch that object. It will rotate as it's going along. Now you can clearly see by the other lights flashing there that this is a color video. But notice that the red light flashing is in the front of the craft and not toward the back. This is moving from the left to the right. And this is a still of that video right there. This is that rotating part of the video. This is one of the strobes on this object. And you can see up here toward the back, just like on the Enterprise, there's another section here in the back. And then there's a lenticular section in the front. And I'll show you a couple of actual photographs that I took of this thing while it was flying along. This is another screen grab, and you see the object on the left here is the rotating object right here. It's not green, it's not white, it's not red, but it is producing a tremendous amount of plasma. I'll show you what I mean. This is another photograph of it, an actual photograph. This is 1 second at 178 millimeters. Now right here you see another light right here. This is entirely different light than these lights here. This is plasma. What's generating that, I'm not exactly sure. But the odd thing about this is, the reason I pointed out that aircraft in the beginning and looking at it from underneath, you would expect to see on the right hand side a green light, and then on the left hand side, what did I say? Well, anyway, this is the right hand side, okay, if you were looking at it from underneath of the from the pilot's position. And then on the left hand wing you would see another position light that would be red. So this looks like an airplane from underneath, but this is flying from the left to the right. So you wouldn't expect to see that. And the interesting thing is, you don't see any of that in the video. The color video does not show this green light right here. It does show that object producing the plasma right here. This is a neutral color basically. I mean, this is not red, it's not green, it's not white, it's just simply plasma. And again, this looks like the left wingtip and the right wingtip. So it looks like it's flying this way, but it isn't. I'll show you an infrared video. You can clearly see this thing is flying in this direction. This is not a standard aircraft that any of us have ever seen before, that's for sure. This is something entirely different. And like I said, it looks like to me the Enterprise. Now this is almost a Billy Meyer photograph here. This is a still image from the infrared, and you can clearly see this lenticular shaped object here in the front that I showed you a screen grab of before, that was being reflected in the lens of the camera when this area right here lit up. You can see what looks like a unit here in the top, possible windows. You can see a dome on the top of it, a lenticular flying saucer type shape, and then this back here, like I said in the beginning, if you're not watching this on a computer screen or your TV, you're missing this part of it right here, because you can barely see it in the color video. But I want to show you the infrared video, and you'll clearly see that this is flying from the left to the right, and there's no reason that you should be able to see both wingtips, the red and the green at the same time, because it's flying sideways to the camera and it's not underneath it, and it's below 500 feet at least. This thing was rather large. You can see the lenticular shape in the front, the Enterprise looking area in the back, and when it gets close to the tree you can see exactly what direction it's flying. It's flying level to the camera from left to the right. This is a slow motion version of it. This is at a considerable distance, so it's got to be rather large. Not a sound. That's not an airplane. There's no way. And yet it's lit up like one. I saw it with my naked eye before I started filming it. At least the lights anyway. I couldn't see the object itself, just the lights strobing. I mean, for all intents and purposes, that looks just like the Starship Enterprise to me. And here, like I said, is this section in the back that is glowing the whole time, basically in the short, albeit color. It was a short video because I didn't think to really, film it or try to with the color camera until it was almost out of sight. But the camera picks up a little bit of this right here. This is lit up the whole time, and it's got to be plasma or something, because it's not showing up, like I said, in the color video, but it does show up on the infrared. So it is producing some kind of an energy at a level that the eyes can't pick up. The only thing you could see was the occasional strobes. So I filmed this, photographed it, and the interesting thing is there was another one came along right after this one, and I'll show you a video of that later on. But anyway, appreciate you having a look at the video, and give me a thumbs up or down if you feel like it, and I appreciate you subscribing if you have, and stay tuned for that other video. Like I said, it came along right after this one. I could see it as well. with my eyes before I started filming it, and it's not a standard aircraft either. So thanks again for having a look, and we'll talk to you later on, I hope.